This is the Tom Williams Show. Tommy, a little bit excited. During the week, caught up with Gerry Lopez, world-renowned surfer of the 60s and the 70s from the cult movie Big Wednesday as well.
Have you seen it, Best Wednesday? That's sale day, I think, at your local retail store, Kate. Big Wednesday. Everyone knows it. Come on.
Here's the chat you had with Gerry at his book launch during the week where he called you Chris throughout the interview.
I'm standing on the shores of my hometown beach with one of my childhood legends, Gerry Lopez. Welcome to Australia.
Thanks, Chris.
When was the last time you were here?
Been a few years. I think it was back in the 70s for one of the Coca-Cola contests. You know, staying here this week really made me realize that I got some roots here.
Hey, Gerry, for a lot of the listeners they wouldn't understand a lot about surfing. Explain to us the spirituality side of surfing.
Anybody that goes in the ocean comes out feeling a little better than they did before they went in. In a way, that's a big part of surfing. You know, they say something about the salt water, that it having the same exact chemical formula as the embryonic fluid. And so when you go in it, you know, it's almost like returning to the womb. I think it's just being in the ocean. The ocean is what really does it. You know, surfing is just a good excuse to be in the ocean.
Gerry, a lot of our listeners would know you from the cult surfing movie Big Wednesday. You're in the big finale there. But one of my favorite quotes from the movie is, "Surfing's not a sport, it's a disease," in the diner. Explain a little bit behind that and what it was like in the era.
You know, Big Wednesday was probably Hollywood's most authentic work as far as surfing went. Before that, there was the Gidget movies, and you know, they were kind of hokey. And Big Wednesday was really the life story of John Milius, who directed and wrote the script. So he, you know, really painstakingly in every detail made it as authentic as possible.
Hey, Gerry, there's a great story in your book that you've just released here in Australia of an interviewer asking you a question last time you were here. Who was the best surfer in the world? Tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, you know, I was being interviewed and the guy kept asking me who the best surfer was, and I knew where his question was going because at that time the world champion surfer happened to be Australian. So, you know, I was kind of playing with him, throwing him some curves. You know, I said the best surfer is the guy having the most fun. You know, he kept pressing me to name somebody, and so finally I said, yeah, Tom Zahn was the best surfer that ever lived. And, you know, he had never heard of Tom Zahn. You know, Tom Zahn in the 50s was a great waterman. You know, he was a champion paddleboarder, and he was also this really good-looking guy with a terrific build, you know. And the reporter said, "What are you talking about? I never heard of him. You know, what did he do that was so bloody great?" I kind of laughed when I answered. You know, I said, "Well, he slept with Marilyn Monroe. What surfer's ever going to top that?" It's actually a true story.
Gerry Lopez, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks. You can just call me Chris from now on. Chris Williams.
Gerry Lopez, one of the best surfers in the world of the 60s and 70s, and his book launched last night, which is called what, by the way, Tommy?
The book is called Surf Is Where You Find It.
This is the Tom Williams Show. A couple minutes
Chris Williams.